Hey, welcome back to Sweet Bailey YouTube. Thanks again for joining us. Hope you're all doing good. Hope you're all having a great day. Oh, I'm supposed to keep the phone like this. Sorry. Thanks again for joining us. We're going to be using this today. One of our mini tools, doing some landscaping. So yeah, like I said before, I don't script what I do. I plan a little bit out, like, kind of lining out some tools, and such, and, some other tools and such, and whatever, kind of just so, it makes the video a little bit quicker and, make a little bit more sense and such. So, today we're going to be talking about leveling your yard or your garden patch or several acres or what have you. So remember when I planted that tree and it was only about this high? Well, it's about 14 feet now. So also a disclaimer, this video will be posted probably before a couple other videos. I'm gonna get back into my YouTube, and like I said, I wanted to in my last video, and there'll be a few videos after this one that will be older videos that I never finished. So there'll be that 3-year difference, like in the previous video, because remember the diamonds video of the backyard before I planted that tree, and the backyard was looking perfect, super nice and level, super good, nice grass, and now it's about half dead and only about half grass in it. It is October in Oregon currently, and there's a lot of weeds, and I did put some weed and feed down last spring, but it was a cheaper brand that didn't really work very good, so it didn't really do much. But moral to the story is we're talking about leveling. And let's give you a quick little nice thing here. The tree I ended up getting when I was in Wyoming. One of my customers gave me about 12 of these metal landscaping edging materials. So I put a nice ring around that. I believe they are 10 feet long, just straight pieces of metal. I'll show you some I have in the driveway. But I just took the whole length, made it in a nice perfect circle there, kind of butted the two ends together there, so it's it's pretty close. It looks pretty good. And it's at the perfect height, so when I mow it with a push mower, I can actually put both wheels against it like that and just go right around it, and I almost don't even have to weed eat, so it saves on maintenance. And that's kind of the way I do landscaping, is to reduce maintenance. So it's it's on budget, and you have a nice yard, nice grass, or what have you, on budget, low maintenance. Because after you get it established, maybe just do weed and feed once a year, which is only like a $40 bag once a year. That's not very bad. That's pretty achievable. And then maybe just mow it once a month or once every 2 weeks, or however often that you want to, that'll fit into your schedule. So like I said, the moral to my videos are they're always on budget, and I'm a YouTuber, I'm just a regular person, but I like to show regular people how to do the things that I do on budget. So yes, I have some some fairly expensive tools and a lot of knowledge, but basically everything I do is it's either free or very, very affordable. So that's why I do what I do. But right here, this is what we're going to be working on today. If you see down here, there's a fair amount of a drop off right here. because the guy that built this fence, it's about from like about here down to the wood is about a 3 or 4 inch difference. And that's why the bottom of the fence is all rotten, because the guy that built this fence, he actually buried like the bottom 3 inches of the fence, which, you know, if the dirt contacts the wood will get wet and it'll rot. You know, that's just basic science. So when you build fences, you want them to, you know, if you have dogs, you want it to not be as big of a gap as, say, such like that. That is about 4 inches right there. So a small dog could still get under there, or a squirrel or whatever. That's why I had to put the wire, so then the animals couldn't get through there. But then when I built this fence over here, I made it so there was a nice little about 1/2 inch to 1 inch gap at the bottom. So when you weed eat, you can actually string trim the edge of the yard and go along it without contacting the wood on the fence, so you're not damaging it. You'd be hitting the dirt and stuff a little bit. So that'll be a little bonus tip of the day for you, is when you build your fence, leave a nice gap at the bottom so that it's easier for maintenance. So then you're saving money on maintenance, because the maintenance will be faster and simpler. So anyways, I'm going to take this whole fence down. There's a big gate here and then the man gate here. But the issue is that I have put a fire pit there. You know, I got the walkway to the door on the garage. Yeah, the door's a little bit worn out. You know, old news. You don't have to remind me. Anyways, this gate here is barely big enough to get a truck through there. Plus, since I have my fuel tank here, it's hard to get the riding mower in and out of here. So I'm gonna take the gate off, take that section of fence out completely, leave the man gate the way it is, but I'm gonna move the bigger gate over here, and I might switch to a metal gate so I can have it bigger, and then I can get the truck through there or the riding mower a lot easier. So, moral to the story is that the area back here, the dirt itself, is you know, 3-4 inches higher than the dirt in the front yard, because I've already done a lot of work in the front yard. As you see, there's not too much grass. And also, look at this. I made a nice quick little hinge there. You know, just your standard gate, you know, locking mechanism. I had to add this piece of wood just so, you know, the screws actually had something to kind of grab onto. But I just put a piece of wire there, put a little hole in the board, and then on the other side, I just put a little, you know, loop in the metal, you know, so you can just stick your finger in there. And when you close the gate, it latches itself. So then the dogs can't get through it, and then when you want to open it, one finger, it just opens right up. Nice. Anyways, the backyard, the dirt level is higher, and I'm a landscaper and I like things to be nice and smooth and level, and you know, like stuff like that. So I leveled out the front already, and I got some new tools, and I was going to show you all of the tools that I have used. The hammer is just for dismantling the fence, which I'm going to do in a few minutes. And that's what this roll of wire is for, so that when the fence is down, when you let the dogs in the backyard, they can't just run the neighborhood and cause issues with neighbors and such. So, leveling. There's many ways to do it, and there's many tools. And the way that I did it was, over here, kind of this area this area in here along the house, and then this whole area through here was about 4 inches higher than the rest of the yard. So I dug it out with a shovel by hand, and just kind of scrape it, scrape the high spots off, threw all the loose dirt over there in the low spot, and then there was some raking, and a lot of the grass and stuff has been removed. So you got your hard rake for scratching out the high spots, creating some loose dirt, moving the dirt to a low spot, to level it out. Your shovel for scraping, so you have a nice flat surface. Pitchfork for collecting all the grass clippings and the dead weeds and stuff that accumulate, and then haul them off and put them in your compost or whatever. The spring rake, they call these spring rakes because they're springy. And then this is called, I forget what it's actually technically called, but at the golf resort we used to call it a level lawn, because it levels the lawn. So once you have a bunch of loose dirt everywhere, you take this and you basically just go back and forth, and it's it's about 3 foot wide, and it will smooth all the stuff out pretty good and make it leveler. So it's basically a leveling tool. Also, I got this new tool. It's a 4 foot by 4 foot drag harrow, and it comes apart in 3 pieces, which I like because it's 130 some odd pounds, because it's big farm grade beefy metal, good farm equipment. But I got it for like leveling lawns, and it actually works as a dethatcher also. So like you see over here in the yard, I probably did over 200 laps with that tool, with this fencing one that I made, that thing over there, and just tore the heck out of the yard. But if you look, there's actually still quite a bit of grass. So it didn't actually destroy the entire yard, just, most of it. So a drag harrow also works as a dethatcher, because it'll pull up all the loose dead grass on the bottom, and then you can rake it up, haul it off, and then your yard will be a lot happier and healthier and such. So yeah, so the front yard's basically done. Like I said, I did over 200 laps with all this stuff on my ride mower. You can see kind of all the circular marks. But at the same time, I did have to dig it out by hand, like I said, with the shovel and the rake and stuff. So like it was high over here, it was high over there, and then this whole side over here was low. So I just took the dirt from there, threw it over here, and just, kind of smoothed it all out. So it's a lot of hard work with hand tools. Also some, some easier work with, the riding mower and such. So the drag harrow, I got that for about, roughly over $200. And then this thing, like I said, once you level it out and get everything kind of level, or get all the dirt loosened up, because that'll loosen up a lot of soil. You can go over it with that. It'll kind of, fill in the low spots, create a bunch of loose dirt. Go over it with the hand tool there, to fill in the low spots, move the dirt where you want it. And then also the fencing here, it's just a piece of rope, a couple eye bolts. I just used a hose clamp, to connect the wire to the board there. So, just a cheap, easy kind of, thing. And that thing literally only cost me like $3 to build that. and you just drag it around, and all the loose soil that the fencing contacts, it'll spread it and fill in all the low spots, so it levels out the yard and such. And this thing, it used to work a lot better, but it has, on the bottom, I drilled a bunch of holes in it. I put some big screws and some big bolts in there, so that from the top I can screw them in, and then they'll go, you know, through the bottom of the board and stick out however far that I want to, however much ground I want it to tear up. So I just put some aluminum and this stuff, you know, it's pretty janky, whatever, but it basically cost me nothing. You know, I got that scrap iron for free. I already had the rope, I already had the wire, I already had some, you know, junk lumber laid around. So it's basically a free tool. But that thing doesn't work very good no more. It just kind of bounces around everywhere, so the harrow works a lot better. Anyways, just kind of talking your ears off. So the plan is, front yard's basically done, and I'm gonna fix the fence here so the big gate's on the other side, and then get the boards up out of the dirt and level it. So I'm gonna dismantle this section of the fence right now, from the post behind here to the post by the house, and then I'm gonna put up the wire temporarily so I can open and close it, so that I can take my new drag harrow and the riding mower through the front yard, through the backyard, and then level out that big hump on the other side of the fence. So let's get right to that. Play some music for you guys, and you can watch me destroy this fence. Technically, not really, just a little dismantling. Alright, so first thing, before I can take out the sections of fence, if you take the board out that's where the post is, usually if you get on the other side of it with a hammer, just kind of hit the board kind of lightly away from the post. You can just knock it right off of the 2x4s, like so. Nails still intact, everything. So I got to do that to this one down here, and also the one with the gate. There was 9 screws here on the hinges for the gate. There's only that one in there, but it's stripped out, so I should be able to. Let's see if I can set you guys up somewhere where you can kind of see. Maybe. But we're gonna zoom in on the grass. Hey, you guys fell over. Alright, so I got that board off, I got the gate off. I got to get this board off, and then the one on the other end, and then we can take the rest of that section down, and that's the main priority for right now. My apologies, a little bit out of breath. That's kind of like work. Anyways, so my opinion, one of the easiest ways to take a fence apart is in sections like this. So you got the whole gate, we got this whole section, we got that whole section. It's old, kind of halfway rotten fence anyways. And you know, the wood, I beat the wood up a little bit. Not bad, it's still reusable. It's kind of rotten anyways. But now, I got to dig the posts up and relocate them. And then I think for right now I'm probably just going to pull that middle one so I can get the mower and the drag through there, and then put the wire up temporarily, because you can see how much height difference. It doesn't look like a lot, but in the landscaping world, it actually is, you know, that's a pretty big difference right there. So I want it to be all, you know, pretty smooth. So a way to see how dramatic of a change it actually is if you just take a piece of wood or something flat. It'll show you, you know, the difference, and that's even at quite a bit of an angle. So it's pretty big difference. So I'll get you back on 4 times speed, hyperlapse, dig this post out real quick, and then at the end of the video I'll show a little bit of the drag harrow action. I don't want to make the video too long, so you know, try to keep them less than a half hour, because most people these days don't have a whole lot of patience, and they don't really like to listen to all my jibber jabber. But in my opinion, it's, you know, it's all useful information. So it's all about perspective. Back again. So yeah, when it comes to pulling posts out and stuff, it's just nice and easy to use a truck with a chain on it and such. There's a couple big rocks in there. I actually had a pretty good amount of concrete on there. And here's a little tip for you. When you concrete a post in the ground to build a fence, you see how this one is not centered? The post is not centered in the concrete. So all this wood is rotten, and it's basically, if I unhook that right there, I can show you what that causes to happen. Come on now. There we go. but it causes the post to rot. When I was pulling it out of the ground, I almost snapped the post off because it was all wet and rotten and stuff. So, tip of the day, when you're concreting a post in the ground, don't do that. Make sure the post is centered in the concrete so that it doesn't get any moisture from the bottom or any of the sides, and then your fence will last a lot longer. So we're gonna stop it here and do some drag harrow action. So we got a little drag harrow action, like I was saying. One of my hooks came loose. I do like that it's in 3 pieces and they just kind of hook together like that, because it's easier to carry, you know, because it's like 45 pounds, you know, 45 pounds and not like 30 pounds or whatever. But as you can see here, this is kind of what the drag harrow does. You know, it just kind of makes some nice lines there, loosens up, you know, stuff that you don't want, like moss, weeds, and stuff like that. So then after you drag it, you rake all that stuff up, and you'll have a big old pile of stuff to haul off. So I only did probably, I don't know, four laps or so, maybe 5 at the most. So there's still a pretty big hole where the post was. There is along the fence here, because we've had a fair amount of dogs. Let's see if I can find it. We buried some rocks along the edge of the fence. So I'm gonna have to dig those up, you know, by hand with a trusty shovel, hand shovel. And then, like I said, scrape off some of that high stuff, you know, about 2-3 inches or so. And then the harrow will do the rest. I'll do that off camera, just kind of showing you. But you can see the boards on the house, like over here. The whole board is exposed, and then over there it goes up a couple inches of board, so it kind of shows you how much higher it is. Use things like that as kind of a gauge. So basically just past this kind of dirt spot here is kind of the high spot, and the rest of it ain't bad. Like, I'm not gonna really worry over there or over on the other side much. It's just basically right here. And then I'm waiting on some grass seed, so I'm gonna replant some grass seed this fall. So once it starts raining in the wintertime, I don't have to water it. Mother Nature will water it for me, and it doesn't get really that cold around here, so it'll be happy as could be. Hey, we're back again. So as you see, the bottom of the fence is nice and flat, level, and out of the dirt. And the dirt level from the front yard to the backyard is pretty flat and level and looking magnificent. So I got the
the fence put back up. What I did, the sections that I took down, I cut off about 2.5 inches of the bottom of the boards that were rotten with the chainsaw. You know, kind of the redneck country boy style of cutting wood. And it's just kind of quick, not really quite as precise, you know. Just use the old 250 still, and that worked pretty good. So anyways, did that. So the fence is technically a little bit shorter, and the sections actually are about an inch lower than they used to be. Yeah, so I think the hardest part about putting the whole fence back together was when this guy built this fence originally, none of the posts were straight or level or square or anything like that. So I had to duplicate, you know, the angles, you know, that were there beforehand and stuff. So I got it all put back together. I was going to move the big gate over here on this side, but I didn't have the materials to do that, you know, more lumber or a metal gate or whatever. So I just figured I'd put the gate, the fence back together the same way as it was, you know, but just fix the bottom, level all the dirt out. And I got the gate back on there. I put bigger, longer screws, about 4.5 inch, you know, wood screws instead of the little like 1.25 inch flatheads. Like, I don't know why that guy used flathead screws on a fence, which you have to put in by hand because, you know, there's not really many flathead you know, power drill accessories. Anyways, and then back here, as you see the nice circular marks in the yard and everything, I probably did another, you know, over 100 laps with the drag harrow. I keep calling it a drag harrow, but it's harrow, or, you know, Harrow, whatever. Anyways, so all the areas that are just dirt, no grass, they were higher than everything else. So like this spot right here, a little bit over there, mostly along the fence here, about a foot away from the fence or so, I had to scrape by hand with a hand shovel and the hard rake, and kind of pull the dirt this way because it was quite a bit higher over there. You can still see, you know, there's still kind of a high spot over there. You know, it's a little bit low here, but it's a lot better than it was. It doesn't have to be perfectly level or smooth, but, you know, just better, so that when you're mowing, the mower isn't bouncing around everywhere and like super rough, all of that stuff. I need to do some more work in here because there's some pretty big, you know, small holes in here that are pretty rough. But I'll have to just kind of dig out some of the grass by hand and move the dirt around and get it kind of smooth. But like I showed you from the front, we got the fence put back up, nice flat line on the bottom there. All the dirt is nice and flat and level, smoothed out. You know, the boards are out of the dirt, so they're not gonna, you know, rot fast like they were doing. And you know, I ended up this is actually a different post than was in there before, because the one that I pulled out was rotten and I almost snapped it off when I was digging it up out of the ground. So I actually had this post, which has concrete on the bottom of it still, which was, if you've seen a couple, 3-4 years ago when I started YouTubing, that fence that I built back there in the corner, that whole section, which is like 45 feet, 50 feet. It was actually like 14 foot high of English ivy. And you know, me and the neighbor teamed up to build the new fence and fix that. There's still a little bit of ivy, like that leaf. Them leaves right there is the ivy. So still have a little bit of that to remove, but we got all that out. You know, dug it down about 3 foot, dug it all out, pulled the posts out. Most of the posts were still good. I think there was only one that was rotten I had to throw away. And then we just put new posts in there, and I had a couple extras, the old ones that were still good, so I reused that here. And like my, oh, we got a little mole activity. We got a little bit of a mole issue here. I'll have to take care of that sometime. But anyways, like I was saying, like this post, it used to be over there for probably over 20 years, but it's pressure treated. It's still good. It's still pretty solid, you know. It's more solid than the rest of the fence. And why not repurpose it, use it again, you know, for the length of its life, you know, saving money. Heck yeah. So, like I said, a lot of things I do, I like to repurpose items that I wasn't using for anything else currently, and then use them for something new, a new project, whatever. So, this will conclude the video. This whole area here, that's all just solid dirt, was a lot higher. It's not perfect, but you can see it's a lot more level than it used to be. But I did have to scrape that by hand with the hand shovel, the flat shovel. I can kind of maybe do a demonstration for you. I don't really have a good high spot to show you, and it's about the thickness of these bricks. So, you know, it's about 2 inches thick that I dug out. So like all this grass was low enough that it didn't get removed, but everything was dirt. The grass was, you know, about 2 inches higher than the rest of it. So with your shovel, and it's kind of a high spot right here, but with your shovel, if you scrape it, whatever angle the flat bottom part of the shovel is when you're scraping, it will make the ground that level. So you can change the angle of it and find that perfect level. And if you just kind of go like this, it'll dig in, and if you have it at that right level, and that's basically what I did to that entire area here, over there along the fence, and that big brown spot strip in the front yard. I had to do that by hand with a flat shovel, manually, and move all the dirt by hand, because I don't have $1 million. I don't have a skid steer. I don't have a backhoe. I don't have a dump truck. I don't have any of the fancy high dollar equipment like some people do. So I have no other choice than to do basically everything the old-fashioned hard way, manual labor. And the neighbor dogs are going nuts. Yay. So sorry the video is a little bit long, but
YouTube is a form of entertainment, and most of my videos are only about a half an hour long. So, you know, that's the same length as a, you know, regular TV show. So, yeah. So thanks again for joining us. Take care, be kind, and let's work together and continue making the world a better place by being good and being decent to others. You know, there's no reason to disrespect somebody that has never done you wrong. That's just completely unnecessary and unprofessional. So, later. Peace.